I have no idea if this is going to be working. We're on a new computer.
Tell us what you did there, Brad, because you decided to do that thing scientists advise against, which is change two or more variables at the
Well, I
same
changed
time.
about 7 variables in the last 7 days. I changed a router,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
changed a computer, I
Yep.
changed the software, and I
hmm
changed the OS.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. You look a little dull, and I don't mean in the normal way, but
Yes, there's something weird with the saturation on this camera and the
yeah,
setting and
yeah,
um, whatever.
we'll
But
get there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we switched to OBS, which is part
Yeah.
of the probably the crux of many of the problems. If
I
there
think
are
so.
problems, I don't know. I did like actually record things prior to this and try it and test it. The
Brad,
one
as
thing,
a longtime computer user and as a recent OBS user for the Hands on Windows podcast, I can tell you that preparing ahead of time doesn't help. That's what I've noticed. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
so that's interesting. There's some quirks with OBS. There are no doubt quirks.
Yeah.
Although I'm all like off center and I got to fix
I
that.
wonder if they're just, you're just not familiar yet,
Well,
software.
there's that. Like the first thing
I
you
mean,
do whenever you deploy new software is you try to draw the analog. Like this is what I did in the old system. How do I do this in the new system? And sometimes breaking that chain of thought can be very difficult. And here we are trying to,
break that train of thought.
yeah. But
Yeah.
the
You'll
one
be
the one
okay.
thing I don't like about OBS, maybe there's a way around this. So with
hmm
XSplit, when I hit record, there was a big red box around everything, so I knew it was recording. As of right
Yeah.
now, I think I see a little red dot that
Yeah.
says
The
it's
little red
recording.
dot is what you're looking for down in the corner there.
Yep.
Yeah. There may be a better visual cue.
Hmm.
You can look in the settings, but it's a complicated, I mean, these are complicated apps, right? So even, because I change computers and I have to set this up every time, I kind of know the little sequence of steps, but it took me a couple of months. I mean, it's just different.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's no echoing or anything else like that. So
hmm
if this podcast
Oh,
sucks,
this can be all kinds. Yeah.
that you got your money's worth out of a Monday. Anyway, CES is
Uh,
starting. Apple said Vision Pro's coming when, Paul Thurrott?
I think it was February 2nd. It just announced as we started recording.
February 2nd. So that's
Yeah.
less than a month.
Yep. And oddly, this is probably a coincidence, Brad, but they announced this on the opening day of CES.
Hmm.
They probably just didn't know it was happening.
Yeah,
It's not really in the news much.
probably not. Either that or they're getting into the vacuum business where they're just trying to suck all the air out of the room.
Exactly.
And,
Bastards.
yeah.
Yep.
So if this whole thing doesn't work, then I'll say this again on the next one.
hmm
So I think I told you last week or week, whatever, I ordered this thing called a Starling Hub.
Yes.
This thing is the Jesus of the Nest world.
So you pause for like half a second after the word is, and I thought to myself, this is going to go in one of two directions. He's going to say, I got a piece of plastic crap with a Raspberry Pi inside of it, or this thing does everything I've ever wanted and is perfect.
So I'm not saying it's not a piece of plastic crap with a Raspberry Pi inside of it, because it very well still could
Okay.
be. Although it is
Yep.
smaller than a Raspberry Pi, and I even actually measured it because I wasn't the same thing. This
Oh,
is a
oh,
Raspberry
look at
Pi.
that. Oh,
and it's-
okay. I was going to say that looks exactly like a. Oh, I see.
and it's smaller than this.
Well, they have those little ones, so like the little, I don't know what you call them, the IoT versions or whatever.
Oh yeah, maybe it might be that. All this thing does, in a nutshell, is it appears in HomeKit as a bridge. That's how it kind of does its magic. And all this bridge does is allow you to connect your Nest account and your HomeKit. That is it.
Right.
So
Um,
it
well,
is.
how, in what way? What does that mean? Like,
I don't honestly know. So
okay.
people smarter than me tell me that this is perfectly fine. And this thing has been around for years. So I'm not like an early adopter of this thing by any means. But all you do is you plug it into your network, you go in and it gives you a web interface and you log into your Google account and your Nest account.
Mhm.
And then it gives you a
Okay.
token. So your password is hashed or whatever. It's not actually on the device or anything like that. And then it basically just creates fake, but they're real, like fake
Mhm.
devices so that you can access them in HomeKit. So I have 3 cameras on my house. It picked up every single camera with the correct name, everything from Nest, and it just brings it all in. You can stream your live video. You can get your
Well,
history. It is the Nest integration in a HomeKit that you would expect Google to have done. I mean, it's flawless.
right. And oddly, Matter was supposed to solve this exact problem.
Yes. Well,
Right?
that was how I found this thing, is because there were a lot of threads like, is Matter going to kill the Starling Hub? And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Paul, like if anybody's listening and they have Nest cameras and they use iOS devices, this thing it could not have been any easier. You just plug it in, you authenticate, and then all your stuff just shows up in HomeKit instantly.
Yeah, that's
and then
great.
It just works. Like it literally just works, and I don't have to open Google Home. The only downside I have found so far is when you use the Google Home app with your cameras or whatever, you can scroll every second of history of the feed if you're paying for the Google Nest service that records 10 days or whatever.
Yep.
Inside the Home app or the HomeKit app, you can only see events. So when it detects motion or whatever else, you can't see every second, but for 99% of what I use, this is perfectly fine. And when those times I do need to like literally scroll second by second, I know how to do it, and you just open the Home app, the Google Home app, that is.
Of
and
course,
they did it.
I'll offer up the opposite experience to this in the smart home IoT space, which is Philips Hue, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, because we both ran into something about this recently. I think you when you switched over to Eero, I would imagine. Me when I moved here, and inexplicably my little, which I know I'm going to run into someday and be like, what the hell? But I lost the little puck. And when you need a little hub thing. And I researched this because I bought this thing before we moved here, like 6 years ago, clearly. And by the way, it has to plug into a Ethernet cable, which is ridiculous. So clearly this has been updated. This is a wireless version, a better version, whatever. No, there isn't. It's exactly the same part. And of all the stuff I had here to get going again and make it work accurately, I had problems with Sonos, but I had the worst problems with Hue. And anyway, some guy eventually helped both of us, I think on Twitter or somewhere. He said, the problem is Hue, this ancient piece of crap, despite the fact that it has an Ethernet connection, works over 2.4, and modern networks like the ones we're both using, by the way, exactly the same one, have moved on and, whatever. Anyway, I had to get my lights to work, was unscrew each light bulb and take a photo of the serial number and then enter them manually into the stupid app like a jerk. And wherever, I did this for everything, right? I have a light strip. I got the whatever they're called, the bloom things in the corners, like, whatever. It took forever. And yesterday morning, I think it was. Yeah, yesterday morning. We had this big snowstorm thing over the weekend. The power dimmed for a moment, and then it just went out, and it was only off for like 30, 45 seconds, came back. The Hue lights are all screwed up again. And I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, I don't even like it's fine now, but it's hard to explain, but you have like a room full of lights. Mm-hmm. You want some of those lights over there to do their little scheme or theme or scene or whatever the hell it is. And then I have a lamp in the corner. I just want that to be a lamp, like a white lamp. This is hard. It's hard, Brad. It's hard.
Here's the other thing I haven't figured out with this new PC.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is the PC you're using to record the show. Yeah.
So the new PC for this box,
mm-hmm.
I can never remember how to do this. And somebody will tell me and I'll be like, that was it.
Yep.
So one of the things I do is I map a network drive from this device to my computer upstairs. I have it all enabled.
No. You're talking about home networking.
Yeah, I know. And this is
the worst. I can get the
device upstairs to see the box downstairs, but it keeps asking me for a username and password, and I have no idea what they are. And I have it set up so it's even the permissions on the folder say everyone. I've tried to turn off everything. If there's somebody knows.
All right, so I'm going to give you a pointer, and it could be wrong because this is out of date. There's a reason this topic is not in the Windows 11 field guide. It's too complicated, and I need it to not just work and work every time, but I need to explain it to like normal people. Like you have to be like, look, if you go through these steps, this will make sense. So I run in. There's a similar problem that I run into I since I came here to this new place, I can't get the NAS on my. I can't see. I can see it. I can ping it. I can't connect to it, and I think it's an SMB issue, like a SMB version issue or something like that. And I need that because I want to, until I get the new NAS, I want to push stuff over to it, and that's a problem. But for you, I would say, I think this is an SMB issue for me, but for you, I think the thing to do is to create a local account that's an administrator on both boxes that has the same name and password. And you don't have to sign into that account. But I think once you do, this is like a stupid and super insecure thing to do, but it's on your home network. Who cares? And then you should be able to do it that way.
Yeah. My workaround right now,
Like
which is fine, is actually this recording is just saving into a OneDrive folder.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. And then, yep, it will show up. The problem is the files could be on the large side. And
There
it's
are a
like
couple gigs each.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. But that will work. I mean, that will work.
Until I figured this out. I spent too much time with it on Saturday, and I was like, I need to just stop. Like
that's what I'm gonna write about. I have a thing. I'm gonna write something today probably about things that don't work. The Philips Hue thing is a part of that story. But yeah, like home network. This is to be fair, this is a thing most people don't need. Like I use a feature that's in Windows 11 called nearby sharing because I take photo or screenshots on one clean computer for the book. And then there'll be like 40 or 50 of them. I need to move them over to the laptop I'm actually writing on and will be, updating the book from. And that actually works really well. I don't think it would work really well for a gigabyte file. But there have been some performance improvements to that. That actually works well. But, Microsoft is trying to get away from the old school, NetBIOS, whatever it is based, SMB 1 point something, folder share, user rights and permissions, and it's a nightmare. And if you look at those, you've looked at it, like the advanced sharing interface and file explorer, it dates back to the 1990s. Oh, it's a nightmare.
It's 95. It looks like 98 or something like that. 95.
Oh yeah, no, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, choose your object. I'm like, well, what's an object? It's like, oh my God.
Exactly right. Because it's a sort of, it's like you're either using a domain or what is it? Like a work group where they,
Oh, he just froze.
Whatever. I don't know.
For a second.
I did. Yeah. Yep. This has been happening lately for me and I don't know what's going on.
Well, we'll end it here. If anybody knows, write it in the comments and I'll be poking around until I get this figured out. Because the old box had it done. So I know it's technically possible. Although I did.
No, it's possible. It's that you do this once every like 10 years. And so you forget. It's hard. But yeah, I'm curious too.
I'm curious if this worked.
Mm-hmm.